What is going on, my patriots? How y'all guys doing? Welcome to another edition of Joe's News and Views, also known as Conservative News and Views. If it's your first time tuning into the broadcast, do me a favor, go ahead on and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell all the way up top. Please like and share. Please like and share. Also, if you listen to me on the podcast, you can catch us on YouTube, Joel Davis Media Network, Joel Davis Media Network. Also, my second backup channel, the official Patriot News Live. The official Patriot News. All right, guys. With that being said, let's jump into this segment. Sorry for the delay, guys. Oh, it was crazy. Had a lot of stuff came up out of nowhere. Doing little chores here and there, trying to get kids' school stuff delivered with book bags for Walmart. I'm telling you, man, I'll be so glad when these kids go back to school because it is a pain. It really is. But hey, man, what can you do about it? It's just about being a parent. It is what it is. So tonight's show is going to be very interesting. A lot of news coming out. We're going with some reliable sources tonight between the Federalists and some on the Daily Wire and Breitbart about what's going on with this administration. The major story that has been taking storm is that we're going to touch on a little bit tonight is about this whole birth certificate situation. Now, I don't know about you guys, but we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. Not to mention, if you missed tonight's show or were not a part of it, you can also catch us talking about this again Monday night with the All-Star panel, which would be me, Jericho Green, Black Conservative Perspective, Hood Conservative, Hood Conservative, and myself, and the Chicano Bear and myself. We will all be discussing some of the craziness that we've heard about this week, some of the major informations that we're hearing about when it comes to the whole small businesses, especially with this whole rental game. So y'all gonna get a lot of information. So it's gonna be a star-studded night. We're gonna try to make it between an hour 10 minutes. Get y'all the best hour 10 minutes of your life on YouTube. Hopefully, we can make this a regular thing. All right. So, that being said, let's go ahead on and get into this story, man. This story is ridiculous. It really is. I never thought I'd be reporting on the day that birth certificates is basically going to be neither here or there. But hey, this is what the world we into. So might as well go ahead on and talk about it. Let me pull up the story for you guys right here. One second, I'm finna share it with you guys. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Independent Mini United. I'm glad you're here. So let's get into this first story here, guys. The Federalists reporting about this story that came up this week that is basically saying that in science, their science column, which was actually pulled up today. Excuse me, guys. The day on my anniversary. Never thought I'd be reporting this on my anniversary. Eliminating sex on birth certificates is driven by inexperienced med students undermining science. Now, I know a lot of people that probably are conservative that may have been hiding under a rock. How did we get here? Well, let me tell you how we got here. Recently, you've been hearing a lot of superstars, a lot of people been identifying for the last year and a half by non-binary. That's right, non-binary. At first, it was called gender fluid, which came out years ago. Now they changed it from gender fluid to now it's just non-binary. Thank you, JH. I appreciate it. They said happy anniversary, honey. They said happy anniversary. Everybody said happy anniversary again. Yeah. And she said thank you. Anyway, let's get into the story here. The American Medical Association continued to defy basic science and the views of the overwhelming majority of the nation's medical professionals when it took the absurd step in June of resolving to advocate for the removal of sex as a legal destination on the public portion of the birth certificate. And taking this position, the AMA strayed so far away from conventional thought that it ceased to be an organization worthy of carrying the word medical in its name. But this is only the beginning of the AMA's mishandling of the matter. Now, y'all know good and plain well who's in behind this. Y'all already know the Alphabet Soup Club is all in behind it. You know, they do not like the fact of uh they already trying to eliminate masculinity, and now they have went to far as now they're saying, okay, let's see if we can get the medical scientists to go ahead on and not approve for the sex to be on public on your birth certificate, which is public record. Exactly, Jacob. Jake, you're right. It could be, bro. I'm trying to tell you, they're trying to eliminate the traditional of masculinity. This is what they've been doing for the longest. Let's keep getting into this. The resolution ultimately adopted by the Board of Trustees was introduced by the organization's medical student section, a fact that in itself is telling. In the background portion of their resolution, the medical students took great care to differentiate between what they call sex designation and gender identity. According to the students, sex designation refers to the biological difference between males and females, which is what is recorded on the birth certificate since the beginning of time, damn near. The students then define gender as a social construct that describes the way persons self identify or express themselves. What? uh Rewind and take two. Sex destination to me would be what you would uh prefer with your sexuality. Gender is what you are biologically are. You either male or female. I mean, come on now. Well, why are we trying to reverse everything? It sounds like a whole lot of double talking to me. It don't sound like it makes any sense at all. Thank you. You ain't wrong. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The unaddressed. Okay, so the students observe the way persons express themselves may not always correspond with their sex assigned at birth. Yet, if sex is the biological difference between males and females, and gender recognizes a social construct related to sex and sexuality, then why is the designation of the former in any restricted of the latter? In other words, if one is going to self-identify as one of other 144 genders and such identification is independent of one's sex designation, then why the restrictions on reporting sex designation? I'm trying to figure out how we got 144 genders. Are you talking about 144 subscribe they say sexuality traits that everybody trying to grab right now in this new generation? Because last time I checked, there's only two genders, male and female. So I don't know where this 144 mess coming from. But to me, it's ridiculous. The unaddressed gap in logic brings up the next error in the student's resolution: the claim that sex is assigned at birth. This is a concept the students took from an informational pamphlet published by the far left American Psychological Association, but it is one that is patently false. Let us recall what the students noted in their own resolution, namely that sex designation refers to the biological difference between male and females. That being the case, sex designations cannot possibly be assigned at birth. It is merely recognized. The baby's sex has already been determined by its genetic makeup and corresponding anatomy. Hence, no one can assign any sex designation at birth. They're not assigning it. It's identifying what the child is. See what I'm talking about? How they try to make these words to confuse us? We already know in this DNA makeup, when you get in this earth, you either a man or a female, a man or a male, man or woman, man or woman. That's just how it works. Male or female. So now it's other tendencies of more feminine than you do hormonal and all that mess. Then yes, you can make a choice when you become the age of knowing all of this about your body as a young adult. If you want to go the opposite sex. So for instance, if you're a woman and you feel like you're trapped, you feel like you're really a man trapped in a female's body, go forth when you get 18 and be a male. If you are a young man who feel like that you are trapped inside of a body of where you're supposed to be a female, then go out there and live your life as a female. But I'll be damned if we should go out here and have these children not designated on a birth certificate and man, this right here, masculinity being annihilated. Oh yeah, this is the devil's alive and well, y'all. This is the fight of good and evil. If y'all don't believe that there's not evil on earth, something wrong with you. Because this right here is a perfect example. In their inexperience and as a result of the flawed instruction they be receiving, the medical students conflated the recognition of one's sex through a genital inspection performed by the delivering physician at the time of the infant's birth, sorry, y'all, with an assignment. A child's sex is no more assigned at the time of birth than a table is assigned its tableness. See how they always use these words that makes no sense. They try to confuse you. They always use confusing words. As the birth, then a table is assigned as its tableness. No, a table is a table. It's no tableness. That doesn't even sound like it's a damn word. And if it is, it's something they made up at the time it's removed from the delivery truck. One maleness or femaleness, like a tableness, is already set. The physician is merely acknowledging the sex the baby already has. Thus, when the student claims that one gender may not correlate with one's sex inherent biological characteristics assigned at the time of birth, they are delivering a falsehood, and amazing that those responsible for teaching them medicine did not point that out. Here's my thing on this already. I'm going to say it again. If they so worried, what's up? God is awesome. God bless America 7. Thank y'all, everybody. I appreciate you joining in tonight. Listen, guys, and I'm going to be real 3,000 about this. If it is a problem for you to be identified as something else, then what you need to do is you need to go up here and wait till these individuals get 18 plus of age and say, okay, I want to change what's on my birth certificate. I think that would be the most logical thing to do, because right now what we're doing is causing a whole lot of unnecessary confusion. That is what we're doing right now. We are causing a whole lot of unnecessary confusion. Thank you, God is awesome. I appreciate you. This right here is sick. This is the most sickening thing I've ever seen in my life. Just hearing this is about to make me want to vomit. The on to distinguishingly state that there's no clear standard for defining sex designation. The standard for defining one's sex is indeed pretty clear, although there are rare cases where the genitals fail to differentiate themselves sufficiently at birth so as to make further testing necessary. The number is immaterial. Then comes the next era. The medical students claim that 48 of the 50 states and the District of Columbia allow for people to amend their sex designation on their birth certificate. Again, this statement is wrong, but even if they were not, the students failed to substantiate their claims. First, their source is the National Center for Transgender Equality's Summary of Birth Certificate Gender Change Language, a single-page document produced by an organization so heavily invested in one-sided debate that it cannot be relied upon to the final word of the matter. The board should have demanded from the students, and the students should have demanded of themselves, a presentation of the actual statutory language in each of the jurisdiction. The floor would then be in a position to actually discuss what each state is actually allowing. And goes back to what I've been preaching for the longest. The generation we have today in the work, they want it to come natural. We talk about this all the time. Y'all come in, hit the like button, hit the like button, hit the like button. I mean, this is just facts. They do not want to put in the work and everything else. Hold on for 1 second, guys. I think somebody at my door. Hold on. I'm back. I thought I heard a knock, man. That's my wife, I guess. I thought I heard a knock. Nah, I think it was you, hun. As I heard that, I think it was you when you was eating. So anyway, let's get back breaking this document down. So they don't want to prove what they're found. What's more, the students claim that the 48 states allow in a sex change determination. Once again, this is false as even the summary out. What is allowed to be changed according to the summary is something called the gender marker, which neither the students nor the summary define, not sex determination. Should the board of professors have demanded clarification from the students on the point prior to proceeding with the debate and consideration on the matter? Finally, the most important point of all, absent from the medical student's background of the issue of sex identification and birth certificates and any comment on the benefits and possible necessities of keeping one's sex in a birth certificate. The students only mention the conflict and confusion that having a sex at odds with one's gender can cause. Although they claim that 1 in 5,000 people have intersex variations and 6 in 1,000 identify as transgender, allowing for confusion. They don't mention how often this confusion happens on the cost of such confusion to American society. Nor do they mention whether removing the individual's sex from a birth certificate will make any difference to this confusion, since the person will have a conflict between his or her sex and the gender he or she chooses, regardless of what the birth certificate may say. In fact, so flawed was the student's case in favor of allowing late changes to gender designations in birth certificates that they actually may have strengthened the arguments against it. Yet neither the board nor their mentors raised a finger to point out their shortcomings. It is clear in adopting this position on sex determination on birth certificates, the AMA has once again proved a grave disservice to society in the medical profession. What is less obvious is the grave disservice it conferred upon its medical students who have missed out on opportunities to learn valuable lessons relating to basic biology, logic, ontology, parliamentary procedure, and ethics. The AMA is not a sham organization that can't even require adherence to the basic professional standards from his own students. Physicians must demand that this rapidly decaying organization step aside and stop falsely claiming to be the voice of America's doctors. Now, this is written by Dr. Julio Gonzalez. He's an orthopedic surgeon and lawyer. Damn, he's a surgeon and lawyer living in Venice, Florida. He is the author of the Federalist Pages and serves in the Florida House of Representatives. Okay, so he's even a lawmaker. So even him, a professional that wrote this article, said this is some horseshit. And it is. We can't remember when I told y'all, I don't know if y'all remember, and I remember talking to this with my wife. You I gotta put that there, Jake. I talked about this to my wife a long time ago. And I said, honey, remember back when me and her was younger? I think me and my wife was in her early 20s, and I think I was just in my late teens. Because my wife ain't that much older than me. They had a thing out where you could choose the sex of your child. All you had to do was go to the doctor and perform a procedure while the on the embryo while it was inside of you, or whatever they did, that you could actually manipulate the chromosomes to where you can make, if you had a boy, you didn't want a boy, you wanted a girl, make it a girl. If you was having a girl, you wanted to make it a son, you can make it a son. And they were talking about this, and I think they did it in Switzerland and other places, testing it out. And now here we are, fast forward today, where they're talking about now getting rid of sexual identification on the birth certificate, which is a public document that we use to identify people in so many medical situations, not only to do research to find out about diseases and different procedures, but also in situations where we can actually find out the cure of what's going on with someone, or keep a track on what we can do to cure somebody. So to me, this is disgusting. Not to mention, let's say somebody gets hurt, or gets murdered, or life is taken, that birth certificate can validate what sex this person was. So that could be vital information to catch the perpetrator. So this stuff right here is ridiculous. It makes no sense. It's, once again, people talking out their ass. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, you can't make this up at all. All right, we're gonna go into what people are talking about, the memorandum uh, with the illegal evictions. I know I didn't. I talked about it last night, but I really didn't hit on it that much. But I'm gonna just read the report, and then I'm gonna tell you guys what I think of what's going on with that. Now, with Biden's illegal eviction memorandum, moratorium, Democrats openly embrace lawlessness. The president knows what he ordered the CDC to do is illegal. He did it anyway to appease the left wing of his party. So, if you don't know what's going on with the moratorium, I'm gonna break it down to you. So, the evictions were supposed to be up last month. In last month, all eviction extensions were up. Did you get one? You had to do what you had to do and figure it out, make right with your landlord so you wouldn't get evicted if you haven't been paying or whatever have you going on. Well, a lot of people took it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court basically said, listen, the CDC, you guys, federal government, you can't get involved in this. You can't pass this moratorium and extend it. This is more of a state-like matter. Okay, it is what it is. Well, Biden got so much pressure of the woke squad. Y'all know who they is. They decided to go against the recommendations of the Supreme Court, the CDC, and the CD and the Supreme Court, now the law of the land, and make the CDC extend this moratorium. And by the way, everybody's favorite representative out of St. Louis, Missouri, old Corey Bush, her crazy ass talking about, oh, I've been out here all night and I've been through 3 evictions and I understand what it is. Yeah, we already know you the biggest grifter there is. So now, state of Alabama is suing the Biden administration, the realtors there, because they can't move people out because people are going to grip on this moratorium and have to take them to court. And then there's one guy in North Carolina that said $24,000 is what he has lost in property profits because of this whole uh, COVID, aka sweet and sour sniffles extension. Look, guys, I know everybody's not perfect. I'm not perfect. I've been behind on my rental from time to time. It happens to the best of us. But if you are in a situation where the area is open up, you got all these resources around you. There is no excuse you cannot go out here and do what you're supposed to do to not only keep your home, but also to put that pressure off your land because they have things they have to pay too. Some of us out here that renting from a landlord make more money than the landlord will ever make. And that's a true fact. There's some landlords that ain't rich like that. Now there's a few that, eating good, living good, got, all these investment properties and stuff where if one don't pay, it ain't that bad. Or maybe if they got a 10 or 15 that don't pay or even almost 100, they still okay. They got other, steady streams of income from other rental properties that's been tactful and on time. But not everybody's fortunate like that. So it's a disservice that your landlord has to wait on you to pay them because you just don't want to do it because you waiting on a bailout. It's not because you can't. It's because you just don't want to. And it's disturbing. Now, one good thing is they said the job report said that the jobs are up. Yep, exactly. The jobs are up. Thank God for that. I was excited to hear about the job report. Job reports up. And I think a lot of it got to do with because a lot of these states are not depending on the federal income. And if you're not depending on that federal income, people are trying to go ahead on and get the money the right way. Hood Conservative, you're right. Maybe they should just pay the landlords. I think that would be a great idea. If you having trouble like this, the landlord goes with the state office or your local office, and everybody come together and just pay the landlord. I mean, that would be the smart thing to do. What's going on, Miss Ruby? I appreciate you. Thank you for coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think that's what they need to do. I mean, you just can't go out here and just be messed up like this. This is disturbing, man. A lot of people losing a lot of stuff. And the guy off of North Carolina, in fact, let me pull that video up and let y'all hear. So y'all don't hear it from my mouth. Y'all can hear what this man went through right quick. Hold on for a second. I want y'all to hear this man's story. When I heard this man, I was like, damn, I don't even, that's not even good. Let me see what my man said. All right, let me see if I can get it. Can't find it. Hold on, y'all. All right, all right, here we go. I'm pulling it up right now, guys. Give me 1 second. Let me play it for y'all.
Wireless on the fastest, most reliable network.
Wow.
That saves up to $400 a year.
Up to $400? That's tough to beat.
Oh,
Xfinity
anytime. I
Mobile
love
with
sharing
internet.
for
It's
y'all,
so
man.
good, it keeps one
Anytime.
upping itself.
President Biden is extending the federal ban on evictions until October 3rd now, while rental property owners say they are left footing the bill for unpaid rent from their renters. Well, our next guest says he's lost over $20,000 so far from tenants living rent-free in his unit. Let's bring in Buddy Schaup. He owns Family Home Rentals in North Carolina. Buddy, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so, there was a great outcry on the political left over the last week or two. The Biden administration have to let that program lapse, but now they say we're going to extend it for a couple of more months because of political pressure from the political left. They want to help people who are renting units, but the money for people like you who own the units hasn't been coming your way, has it?
That's correct.
And I've heard that apparently and we've got a statistic, of the money set aside by the federal government, and we're talking billions and billions of dollars, only about 7% of rental assistance has been doled out in the first 6 months of 2021. The federal government just isn't good at doing this, are they?
I don't think so.
Yeah, no kidding.
I work, I belong to the Top Valley Landlords Association, which is a group of landlords that meet once a month. And, we meet just for this reason, to discuss all these issues and what's in our local community and this and that. And, Hickory put out a grant to Greater Hickory Cooperative Christian Ministries to help these people that are behind in their rents. And, of course, the loss of the money, I've had tenants that have come to me and say, look, I don't have it all. And I'll send them to the local programs, which is funded by our local city and county.
Right.
But as far as the government, I haven't seen any, drastic on that, except for the stimulus checks that they send out to the individuals.
Sure. And I read something that apparently some of your renters who are not paying you, one guy had 3 or 4 boats show up in his driveway, and that set off an alarm bell with you, right?
I want y'all to hear this. I had to pause this for a minute. This man said this person ain't paid no rent now. Told you all this time, oh, I can't pay. But he show up with 4 boats. I ain't talking about no small boats. Nice size boats. Man. Tell me this ain't a dirty game, boy. It's a dirty game for the business owner. Let me continue to play this for y'all, man. Damn.
Oh, yeah. They were used. They wasn't brand new boats. But, I mean, in a time of crisis like what we've been through, you're evidently getting money from somewhere, but it's not getting me.
Yeah. And the crime of it is half of the rental unit owners in America are mom and pop operators, people who cannot afford to lose. You've lost $20,000 so far. Is there any chance that the federal government is going to make you whole, buddy?
No. And the bad part, the one thing that wasn't shown in that, the guy didn't pay me rent, and evidently was getting money from somewhere, and he had 3 boats. Well, lo and behold, the middle of the summer, their air conditioner went out. And
You heard that? I had to pause it right quick. The air conditioner went out now, and they needed the landlord. Now, listen, I know the landlord is required by state law on all 50 states that they have to, but let me tell you something. I know it was very awkward for them to see this landlord coming in here. For real. I mean, this right here is insane. You can't make this mess up. All right, y'all. Let me continue playing this.
And so I had to put about a $4,500 heat pump on that house to make sure that they stayed cool. and I didn't receive any rent or anything. So it goes way beyond the loss of rental income. We're still bound by
Yeah.
county rules and laws. We have to maintain the property.
Unbelievable. So the people who are not paying you rent called you up and said, "Hey, my air conditioner isn't working," and you are bound by law to fix it, and now you're out
Yes.
$5,000.
Right.
Okay. Well, it's not working too well. If somebody from the White House is watching, I hope they are going to do something to fix it, because folks like you are hurting. Buddy Schaup, thank you very much for joining us today from North Carolina.
Thank you.
And they ain't gonna help Buddy. Why ain't gonna help Buddy for? Buddy's not a part of the agenda. Buddy is the problem. They're not gonna help Buddy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I hate to say that, but they're not going, because the woke is what's running right now. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mama Claudia. Thank you. The woke is what is going on right now. And it's sad. It really is. This is what we're dealing with right now. We got people out here that is promoting to destroy the small businesses in America. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention, too, this is the America that we supposed to have capitalism. Capitalism. See, this is what makes me so mad with the situation. Our country was built on capitalism. Capitalism is for everybody, small or big or large, have an opportunity to become successful by having their own business. That has been the American staple. But unfortunately, we don't have that right now. Because right now, we are being hustled by an organization that wants to take capitalism and makes it into Marxism. Marxism and socialism, and before you know it, communism. Exactly, Mama Bear. And they don't see that. There is no success in a communist socialist country. Every country we have brought up that people are escaping from, Mexico, Venezuela, the Moroccan area, Afghanistan, all these places, they're not happy because they are ran by communist dictators, socialist dictators. They have nothing. I wouldn't doubt it. You ain't wrong. They don't have it. And we continue to allow this buffoonery. And that's what it is. Because we have people that are in the position of power that are doing just that. And it is disgusting. Hello. Very disgusting. Let's see what else we got going on tonight. Yeah. Hello. Give me 1 second. Let me find this one story. Y'all work with me for a minute. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all this right here off of U.S. News. I really don't like U.S. News like that, but I'm going to give y'all a little insight about U.S. News here. Thank y'all. I'm loving it right now. Please keep hitting the like button. Miss Ellis, thank you for coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm enjoying everybody. Auntie C, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate the support, y'all. I really do. I can't wait for the big stream Monday night too. I'm gonna promote it this weekend. I'm about to do the promotional material for it this weekend. Yes, please like and subscribe. It helps out with the channel.
Okay. Hello. Hello. Take the phone to Miss Wanda. Take the phone to your grandma.
Oh man. I'll give it 1 second. All right, y'all got it? All right, now let's get it right into here.
Take the phone to your grandma.
That's our babysit baby. Oh, I got you. Oh man, my wife
If you are still there, take the phone to your grandma.
and kids are off the chain, man. I love how she is with kids, man. My wife is freaking amazing. All right, so Biden's gonna offer COVID vaccines to migrants in custody along Mexican border. Didn't I tell y'all that they were gonna think of something to keep they behind from stopping these migrants from coming in? They need them votes. That's their mindset. I gotta get these votes. So what they're gonna do? They're gonna do everything they can to keep these migrants at that border. So what did they come up with real quick in a hurry? Like, oh yeah, we just gonna vax them at the border. Let's see how this plan gonna work. So Wednesday, they said COVID-19 vaccine will be offered to migrants in U.S. custody at the Mexican border, federal government officials said Tuesday. The Department of Homeland Security will provide the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine to migrants soon after they cross into the United States. Two agency officials with knowledge of the plan told the Washington Post. They spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the plan, which is not being finalized, the Post said. So you know what that means when they said they got to be anonymous? They can't talk about the plan. It's basically a press release to keep the Americans from asking all these damn questions. What's up, man? Thank you, Hood Conservative, my dog. All here tonight. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Now, however, the migrants who are quickly sent back to Mexico would not be offered a vaccine, at least during the initial phase, the Post reported. In July, 210,000 migrants crossed into the United States along the southern border, the highest 1 month total in 21 years, according to the preliminary government estimates. Those familiar with the new vaccination plan said it makes sense for the government to provide shots to people who are already in U.S. custody, reducing the risk that they could spread the virus in their home countries or in the United States. Mm-mm-mm. With the U.S. government holding far from vaccine doses that it can distribute domestically, the Biden administration has ramped up global vaccine donations. And officials said Tuesday they have sent more than 110 million doses to at least 60 nations. Dr. Paul Outfit, director of the Vaccine Education Center at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, said the plan to expand vaccinations along the border was a great idea. If they have people under the care and consider part of caring for them, making sure they're immune to the virus, I think that's responsible, Offit said. The advantage of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is that its single dose is for populations who are transient and less likely to get the second dose, so it makes abundant sense. About 20,000 detainees have received vaccines so far, according to the latest government figures. More than 1,000 migrants were affected with COVID-19 as of August 1st. More than 22,500 confirmed cases since the pandemic began. The Post report. Those numbers are off. Those numbers are so off because there has been a lot of migrants, y'all, that have came through our country that has been shipped out all over the U.S. So how in the hell can you sit here and tell me now, all of a sudden, by this bullshit report that they're putting out of anonymously, there ain't nothing but 1,000 people that basically had the sweet and sour sniffles? Bullshit. We had over, oh my God, I think we got over 300,000 plus people that crossed the border this year. All this many people that crossed the border, and they shipping them everywhere. And you're trying to tell me that's you only got 1,000? Man, there's more than that. I wouldn't be surprised if you had about 40 or 50,000 of those people in this situation. This to me is another example of a cover up, man. You can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. And it gets worse. Then he had the nerve to say 20,000 detainees have received the vaccine. So you're telling me you out here, you putting people all over the globe of the United States, you only got 20,000 people with this magical vaccine that's supposed to protect us? Man, stop. I doubt that too. I'm telling you, these people are full of shit than a Christmas turkey. They are doing whatever they got to do to keep them votes alive. I'm telling you. I'm very certain of it. And then is what's worse is they saying about this Delta variant that it's here and they can't even test for it. So you don't know if you got it or not. Man, I'm telling you, this is like a badass sitcom. You can't make this up. You can't make it up, man. Shout out to U.S. News. They finally did a damn report that was halfway decent. Never thought I would actually say that about the U.S. News. Usually they be all on that woke shit. So let's see what else we got going on here to wrap up a little bit more because I want to give y'all a good. And speaking of experiments, let's talk about what Fauci has done. Y'all know the little guy named Dr. Fauci. Oh, I know what's going on. Mr. I'm all together. I've been helping presidents since 1983. Man, you so full of shit. Say about what Fauci has done. Fauci spent nearly $500,000 in taxpayer dollars on abusive experiments on dogs. The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, directed by Dr. Anthony Fauci, spent $424,455 in our money, the taxpayers' funds, on experiments to infest beagles with a parasite carrying flies, even though the procedure had already been extensively tested on other animals. Y'all hear that, right? Man's best friend. Anybody to do that on man's best friend, what you think he'll do to our ass? I'm just saying. The funds were, okay, let me see this. On other animal, White Coat Waste Project, the government watchdog group that obtained the documents, found that about half of Fauci's $6 billion budget was used for animal experimentation, including the abusive dog experiment. The funds were directed to the University of Georgia Research Foundation to conduct the experiment. According to the documents that we just obtained using the Freedom of Information Act, Fauci just spent $424,000 to commission a study in which healthy beagles are given an experimental drug and then intentionally infested with flies that carry a disease causing parasites that affect humans. The White Coat Waste Project wrote. The documentation The documents further revealed that the experiments were not necessary because scientists had already performed similar tests on various other animals. Experimenters admit this investigational drug has been extensively tested and confirmed in different animal models such as mice, Mongolian gerbils, and rhesus marquis, the group found. Records obtained by the Freedom of Information Act, which is FOA, requests show the dogs vocalized pain during experiments. How do that to a damn dog? Really, man? Damn. Where Peter at? That's right. Where is Peter? This is time now. Peter should be all on his ass. Oh, I forgot. Peter's paid by the woke. The Daily Caller reported the NIAID task order showed 28 beagles were to be allowed to develop infections for 3 months before being euthanized for blood collection. Damn. The dog experiments are set to be completed by January 2022. However, the task order states that the beagles are to be euthanized 196 days after the start of the study. According to the emails obtained by WCW, the study began on November 12, 2020, meaning the beagles would have been scheduled to be euthanized in June 2021. Justin Goodman, vice president of White Coat Waste Project, said in a statement that Falsey needs to be held accountable for taxpayers funded abusive animal experimentation. He does. It's not just Wuhan, Goodman said. Falsey's budget has ballooned to over $6 billion in taxpayer funding annually, at least half of which is being wasted on more questionable animal experimentation like these deadly and unnecessary beagle tests and other maximum pain experiments. Falsey needs to be held accountable for this staggering waste and abuse overseas and right here at home. The group has started a petition to increase government transparency for use of taxpayer funds for animal experimentation. Y'all, I'm telling you, I knew that dude was not right. I knew it. I knew you wasn't right, man. You killing dogs out here? Bruh. I can't deal with that shit, bro. That's just twisted and sick. Who does that? Killing dogs, man, best friend, have no remorse. Yeah, man. I mean, these are helpless animals. And you doing it on an experiment that's already been worked on gerbils and other rodents. They don't need you to do that. You just want to be. I'm telling you, man, that dude ain't right. I knew this dude wasn't right. Ever since I heard about, oh, Dr. Falsey, he's such an amazing guy. Nah, that joker ain't right, man. I mean, they ain't right. So let's see here. All right, let's see what we're gonna do about this one right here. So we're gonna talk about two more stories. Yeah, we're gonna talk about three more stories, I think. Yeah, no, I ain't gonna do three more stories. I'm gonna do two more stories. Yeah, three more stories. And then we're gonna wrap it up. The first one's gonna be about the I know y'all heard about this. This is about the teachers union want to sue this mother out of Rhode Island. I want to say she's from Rhode Island. All right. So this lady has a kindergarten. She's in Rhode Island, Northern Rhode Island, and she asked one simple question. She wanted to look at the political material in the kindergarten curriculum that is supposed to be teaching this whole CRT mess. And they lost their mind. And now they want to go and sue the woman because she wants to get information with her child being taught through the Information Freedom Act. So let me jump into the story a little bit. I'm not gonna read all of it, but I'm gonna highlight certain areas of it and tell you what's going on. So the National Education Association has sued a mother in Rhode Island who asked what her daughter would be taught in her classroom. Solas, the target of the NEA's lawsuit, is now fighting back against the nation's largest public sector teachers union with the help of the Goldwater Institute, which describes itself as a leading free market public policy research and litigation organization that is dedicated to empowering all Americans to live freer, happier lives. This brazen and unprecedented act of intimidation by the NEA will not stand, said the Goldwater Institute Director of National Litigation, John Riches, who is representing Solis. Nicole Solis is entitled to know what her daughter's school is teaching in the classroom. She's entitled to ask questions, and she does not deserve to face a legal action for asking questions any concerned parent would ask. Now, Nicole had emailed the principal of her child's school in South Kingston School District asking for the kindergarten curriculum and whether it would include teaching the young kids politically charged material such as lessons influenced by critical race theory and gender theory. Now, before I proceed, she has every right to do that. She has every right to ask that question. She is a parent. She has a 5-year-old child. Okay? She has a 5-year-old child. She has every right to do that. So if nobody don't understand that, that lets you know right there that that's a red flag. She is a parent. She has every right to ask that question. And that is a major red flag to me. In fact, I would pull my child out immediately if they would have came at me with some craziness like this. But they think this woman's an idiot. Now, Solis immediately faced stonewalling from the school and even a threat of legal action for asking too many questions. According to the Goldwater Institute, ultimately, Nicole received a bill for $74,000 to fulfill a public record request filed by the Goldwater Institute on her behalf in July. Now, Solis is up against the NEA, which the Goldwater Institute calls a veritable Goliath that represents over 2.3 million people nationwide and has a budget of over $300 million. The NEA is so determined to push its political agenda that they are willing to expose themselves in a court of law for who they really are. An association of bullies eager to challenge a stay-at-home mom who simply wants to know what her daughter would be taught. Solis said this lawsuit won't deter me from asking questions, and I encourage all parents to do the same so they are empowered to make informed decisions regarding their children's education. See what I'm talking about, guys? This is where we heading to. This is what we headed to. This is another episode of what the hell is really going on. This is what we headed to. Oh yeah, about the tax mileage. Yes, they got a pilot program. They just slid in on the infrastructure bill that they trying to sign. Go to Black Conservative Perspective channel. He'll be on my show next week, and he'll definitely got a video talking about that. But this is just an example, guys, of what they want to do. They want to control our children. They don't want us to ask questions. They don't want us to get in their business. They want to allow to control our kids. And it is disgusting. This woman is getting sued, and they try to charge us $74,000 just to get information about what her child is getting taught. Oh yeah, they been wanting to do that, bro. They been wanting to tax us. This ain't nothing new. Yeah, it'll hurt me too, man. I do 90 miles round trip, so it'll definitely hurt me to my job. It hurt my wife too, because my wife and me have to do a whole lot of stuff out of town with her health. So yeah, this again, if y'all like what's going on, please hit the like button. Please hit the share button. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Also, too, if you for listening to me on the podcast, go ahead on right here, right now. Drop a review on the podcast of how you like this episode. More reviews we get, the more it'll help with the algorithm for more people to listen to the show. All right, guys, let's talk about the 1619 project. Now, what did I tell y'all about? Everybody know how these Democrats work. All right, anytime they got a program that could expose them for being fucked up, hey, what do they wind up doing? Everything they can to keep from looking fucked up. And that's exactly what's going on here on the 1619 project. These lovely folks, the Democrats, has ignored the Democratic Party role in advancing and sustaining racism in the United States. But they all over critiquing and riding on the GOP. What I told y'all. Anything by them Democrats, hey, they gonna make themselves look good. Oh, Lord have mercy. Democrats who advanced the bill in June to remove statues of white supremacists from the U.S. Capitol ignored a central fact about these figures. All of them have been icons of their party. From Andrew Jackson, adamantly pro-slavery, Vice President John C. Calhoun, to North Carolina Governor Charles B. Aycock, and architecture of the white supremacist campaign of 1898 that ushered in the era of the Jim Crow. At a time when the government, sports teams, schools, and other bastions of American society are rushing to expunge legacies of slavery or racism, that has another instance of the Democratic Party failure to acknowledge that it did more than any other institution in American life to preserve the peculiar institution and later enforce Jim Crow style apartheid in the Old South. And let me tell you how they dress that up. When you talk to a liberal about these type of facts, this is what they say. That's the old party. That party now is now in the Republican side. You can't make this up. So you're trying to tell me that a party that's always been racist, known as Democrat, time when they passed the civil rights movement, they were like, oh, okay, that's how it's gonna be? Okay. All right. That's it. We going over here to the Republican side. Hey, Republicans, go on over back over there to Democrat now. We taking over your party now. Yeah. Yeah, we can't have this. We got to stay racist. No, it didn't work that way. You know what Lyndon B. Johnson said? Lyndon B. Johnson said the following statement, and this has actually been stated over and over again. He said, if I signed the 1964 Civil Rights Bill, if I approve this bill, this is exact words he said, so you too chill, I have niggers voting for me for the next 200 years. This is facts. More than one Democratic old school that's been alive and well, and even the ones that's still somewhat alive, has said this was actual talk that Lyndon B. Johnson has said. And his daughters had the nerve to be up there with Jesse Jackson talking about voting rights is racist. When their dad was the biggest racist ever. Him, man, that's like saying Edgar J. Hoover loved black people and was best friends with Martin Luther King. Y'all know that shit ain't true. The same way about this, man. It's lies, man. They'll do anything to rewrite history. They keep themselves looking good. Keep writing it, keep reading this old shit. I think it's absolutely fair to criticize the history of the Democratic Party when we literally changing the names of birds because they're named after racists. Said Jared Stedman, author of The War of History, the conspiracy to rewrite America's past, refer racism, cleansing push in, yes, orthonology. Democrats' circumspection in the face of this trend is especially noteworthy because it comes to a time when they are criticizing Republican legislation to block the teaching of critical race theory on the ground that the GOP wants to whitewash American history. But one of the most noteworthy efforts to reframe American history in terms of race, the New York Times 1619 Project, virtually ignores the Democratic Party's role in advancing and sustaining racism in the United States. And this is facts. This is facts. And they have omitted any discussion of the Democratic Party in their in any of their teachings. In fact, if they hit on the Democratic Party, they try to paint them in a beautiful light. I'm telling you, man, it's sad. It's sad. It's sad that this is what we coming to. We can't even talk about history because we got all of these people out here that don't want to face the truth. You know what they say, the truth sets you free? Well, it ain't setting a lot of these fools free because they know they lying. So, guys, we're going to talk about one more thing here, and then we're going to wrap up, and I'm going to give you my final thought for the night of all the things that's going on and what I reported. This is over here. They're talking about the left had a pedophilia problem and it's out in the open. The left is continuing its tradition of destroying society's sexual morality, now campaigning on multiple fronts for the normalization of pedophilia. Now, if you don't believe that, let me tell you, and let me give you some examples that we saw this year. We had a situation we read about, and I talked about on my show. 5-year-old, a mother and father talked about their 5-year-old child was being taught sexual reproductive health, and they were telling their children how to be okay to touch themselves and actually tell grown people that they don't want to be touched or hugged, but they can also touch and get to know bodies of other children, which to me was very disturbing. Because when I was 5 and 6 years old, I didn't want to touch nobody. I wanted to play my games, as in Legos, Matchbox cars, Hot Wheels. I wanted to play in dirt. I wanted to aggravate my mama all damn day, asking her, can I get some ice cream? You know what I mean? I wanted to chase the cat all around the house and shit. I want to ride my big Beethoven dog like it was a damn horse. I had no thoughts about that type of shit at 5. And I wanted to see Bugs Bunny in cartoon. But unfortunately, this is what we got going on right now. We have a world that is trying to condition our children and take their innocence away. As I read this story here, like many others, I have fond memories of my childhood where I was marching in the Independence Day parade. binge watching the Power Rangers, or making gingerbread men for Christmas with my family. I had the chance to enjoy a childhood that preserved my innocence. Keyword innocence. An innocence that is unique to children and that once lost doesn't return. A subset of children growing up today will likely recall certain aspects of their childhood very differently. The left has, with a startling degree of success, endeavored to reshape our society by embedding their beliefs with the experience of childhood, overshadowing 4th of July parades with pride parades, and planting LGBT propaganda in children's shows, and supplanting gingerbread men with the genderbread person. You see, and it's sad. This is facts. This is straight facts what this man is saying. In isolation, any of these specific incidents would be unsettling to say the least. But by viewing them in the larger context, one reaches a conclusion that is just as unconscionable as it is unavoidable. It isn't just the controversial beliefs are being thrust into childhood experiences, but that the natural curiosity, openness, and naivety that is the inherent disposition of youth is being hijacked to normalize a divergent sexual ethic. This interest in children is not purely ideological. However, with increasing frequency, the obvious have become undeniable. Those who have a creepy obsession with involving children in their sexual tastes and use any avenue at their disposal to do so either have a direct sexual interest in children or want to run cover for those who do. The left has a pedophilia problem, and it's only getting worse. I was made painstakingly aware of this fact when I attended the 2019 San Francisco Pride Parade to interview attendees for my YouTube channel. And I co-host with a friend. One particular honest marcher told my co-host that he is down for the kink with kids. Mentioned later that he believed that age is a construct. Y'all hear this? Y'all hear this mess? This man said that. Thank you, sweetie. Yeah, exactly. I wasn't thinking of changing back then. Did you hear what this man just said? Somebody said that they were down and enjoy, like literally enjoy doing that with children. This is crazy, man. That is so crazy. Another demonstrator informed that children involved in drag is so cool, and that there should be more kids doing drag. Before saying that statement, love has no age is 100% true, and letting loose a Freudian slip when he admitted that a child drag queen who performed in a gay nightclub was paid in the same manner you do with strippers. You hear this? You hear this, right? This man is actually saying that he is comfortable with children being exposed. Wow. In case you have the impression that this is an isolated incident, take a look at the mashup of Vice headlines, when in several instances attempt to generate sympathy for pedophiles, obfuscate the definition of pedophilia, and confer legitimacy to non-offending pedophiles, including one pseudonym named Ian, whose job involved children directly, and another called Gary, a man who developed feelings for a 3-year-old girl but calls himself a virtuous pedophile who supposedly doesn't act on its attraction. Yeah, right. Gary was also a foster parent to 3 children and was subsequently accused of sexually assaulting one of the young girls. These articles offer some rather striking context. For other articles from Vice, such as one in which they fawn over pictures of the fabulous kid of RuPaul's drag convention. When the publication describes with the fire emoji, as mentioned earlier, one of these children danced on stage for money in a New York City gay bar for a crowd of adult men, which was caught in a video that I can't link in good science. And you know what's sick? Whoever thought that was good, man. Whoever thought that was good advertising. You got a little child in a gay strip club dancing? Really? And now y'all wonder why why California has passed this sick ass law 10 years difference. They don't have to register as a sex offender. Man, I'm telling you, this is all being designed to go after our children. Lest you believe that Vice is alone in their attempt to normalize pedophilia, turn your attention to the New York Times article. The best way to protect sex workers depend on who you ask, which opens with the line, T.S. Candy first traded sex at age 13. No, New York Times, that's called pedophilia. Pedophilia, not trading sex, exactly. The article reports glowingly on the pedophilic serial rape of a child who turned to prostitution after she was forced out of her family home before taking refuge with a group of older transgender women who became her mentors and taught her how to support herself through sex. Normal people would think this sounds a lot like a group of perverts pimping out a homeless child for sex. One has to ponder why euphemisms are being used to try and obscure the reality. Perhaps it is because the left has a pedophilia problem. The type of perversion isn't an isolated incident. In the corporate media, either with the Washington Post recently running a piece called Yes, Kink Belongs at Pride, and I want my kids to see it, that is just as disgusting as the headline makes it sound. Associate professor at Yale University, Joe Fiscal, echoed this sentiment in his article, Keep Pride Nude, where he asked, what is the presumptuous harm if a child sees an adult's butt cheek or even an adult's genitalia or breast? Yes, it's harmful. Fincher then goes on to advocate for children to be exposed to a whole host of other perversions and speak the language of groomers, which I detail in the previous article. He even tries to justify his perversity when he says children might like it. No, dude, children are innocent. Children are innocent. They are supposed to be protected at all costs. You don't go out here and talk this mess about children. They're the future. They're babies. Your child is supposed to be so precious. You don't even want your child to even see not even a bug get splat on the car. You feel bad when you see that happen. Oh God. It's your child. Because you love your child. It's an innocence that can never ever be replaced, man. You wanna make it pure. That's sick, man. The New York Times, Washington Post, and Yale faculty aren't the only powerful players attempting to normalize pedophilia. Flora Gill, a bi-weekly columnist on sex and relationships, who writes for GQ over there in UK, called for the creation of porn for children, which she calls entry-level porn, in a now-deleted tweet. Y'all see this? And it's right here. Wow. And I guarantee you she has not been fired or been blocked on Twitter. How could you also forget the infamous drag queen story, Our Program, which was initially backed by wealthy interests from San Francisco and been caught hosting convicted sex criminals on 3 separate occasions. One of the program's events was also hosted by a man who had been charged with 7 counts of child pornography possession. There's also Netflix with the gut-wrenching film Cuties. We remember that, which one grand jury in Texas indicted as child porn. Popular left wing popularity, Vosh also had a history of defending pedophilia, saying in one video that pedophiles who buy child pornography should not be held accountable. What? The anti-fascist figure who also takes an interest in the sexual dynamics of pre-colonial Hawaiian civilization, where people allegedly had sex with children despite there being no culture in child abuse. The implication being that pedophilia is apparently not a form of child abuse. Man, what is wrong with these people? Left-wing openness also targeting children have become even bolder. Recently, when the San Francisco Gay Men Choir performed a song with the lyrics, "You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked? Fine. Just this once, you're correct. Before following up with 'we'll convert your children' happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it." They even sing, "You'll be disgusted when you start finding things online that you kept far from their sight," in not so subtle apparent to pornography. Although the group issued a statement claiming the song was a joke and just about teaching young people to speak out against anti-LGBTQ hate, it appears skepticism is warranted, if for no other reason than that the left had a pedophilia problem. As it turns out, Western Journal reports found several of the performers' names were also listed in California's sex offenders registry. Some acts of pedophilia, although it is possible these matches are coincidental. Those singers might not be the only ones from this performance with a shady record. The song's writers, Charlie Shone and Tim Roser, previously wrote a musical about the pedophilic practice of bachabazi, or boy play, which even the New York Times found disgusting. The left has a pedophilia problem, and it'll keep getting worse unless the right is entirely unencumbered by disingenuous appeals to tolerance, meaningless catchphrases like "love is love" or empty insults like "homophobe." Such rhetoric devices are not used in good faith, and treating them as they are anything other than well-crafted maneuvers to undermine any sexual ethic that leaves childhood innocence intact is the height of naivety. Guys, we got a war going on here. We have a war going on here. Ever since, guys, you've been hearing all these different types of labels: pansexual, asexual, all this crazy shit describing all these terms of how people are attracted to objects and things. This is the introduction of "I want to violate people's children." That's just what it is. And the Hollywood elites are so much a part of this mess and encourage it, along with the rest of these damn fools that's involved in this circle. And it's disgusting. And it's up to us to protect our children at all costs. It's just what it is. These people don't care. They have no chill. I mean, they've been talking about this for years. I've heard so many of these predators talked about this on documentaries that they could not wait the day that it could be accepted as a preference. And that's where we at right now. And they playing it off innocently. They started with, "Oh yeah, we're reading to your children today." They started off with, "Oh yeah, we want your child to go to the pride parade and learn how to stand up for us." And then before you know it, they're grooming your child, and your child out here getting exploited. And it's facts. All right, guys, I'm finna give y'all my afterthought of this week's events. And then after I give y'all my afterthought of this week's events, I'm going to call it a night. Guys, this week has shown us once again that we are facing destruction. We are facing destruction. All right? Sodom and Gomorrah is here. You think I'm lying? Look at what we got going on right now. Everything you see around you is people are promoting abnormal sexuality on our children. I'm going to say it again. People are promoting abnormal sexuality on our children. Now, when I say abnormal, I'm talking about trying to encourage our children to not be heterosexual. They encourage our children now to be the other ways. Again, this is not a hate speech towards the LGBTQ plus question mark community. Hey, I got people in my family that are gay, that's very close to me, and that's what they want to do. That's fine. My issue is when you pushing it on young children, and that's what we're facing. It is being pushed more and more on our young children. We also facing a time where black privilege is here. That's right. And it's not black privilege in a so I want nobody to be like, oh, black privilege, oh, that's great. No, it's not. It's basically a slick way of me telling everybody that we have a lot of black young people out here that do not want to take accountability because they got these liberals, racist liberals, telling them that they're not smart enough to have accountability. They're not smart enough to be successful. They are supposed to be led like they're a freaking slow kid that's that's got mental disabilities. I had to stop myself because I don't want YouTube to flag me because they don't like that R word. I mean, that's just where we at. It's just where we are at. Not to mention, we are facing an administration that are replacing us as Americans as we speak. These migrants that's coming in, they're not here to aid us. They are here to replace us. That's the facts. They're going to start with the weakest one first, which is the black community, because they know that they'll never stand up. They'll never demand for anything because all we're going to do is cry and whine. And once they got that replaced, then they coming after these other groups. And they're going to do it by class. Middle class, oh, don't worry about it. We're going to replace you with these migrants. And before you know it, it's not going to be America, the beautiful melting pot. It's going to be America, the dictatorship. And this is what it is. Another thing that we definitely need to keep in mind before I wrap this up tonight too, and we got to stay focused on, guys, is that these liberal minded politicians do not care about us. The only thing they care about is staying in power and making sure that we get the shit end of the stick. And also, y'all need to remember too, with these liberals, if you don't believe me, look at the report that was released about Tim Pool today. You can be a centrist with them fuckers. And if you disagree with anything they say, you are canceled. You don't believe me? Look what they're doing to Tim Pool right now. They're trying to cancel Tim Pool, who is a centrist, who has always told them, listen, I'm in the middle, I'm on the fence. I mean, I say what I say, I do what I do. I'm not going to agree with everything you guys say as liberals, but I'm a centrist. I'm not a conservative. And now they're trying to cancel this man. So you tell me what's really good. They also trying to cancel another far left guy too. I think his name Jordan something. They trying to cancel him too. And he has been an advocate for this woke shit. And they canceling him because he disagreed on one thing. That's how they are. They want you to agree on everything. You cannot disagree on nothing. Nothing. All right, guys. Well, I want to tell y'all, thank y'all for joining out. Thank y'all for all the donations. Thank you for the sharing. Thank you for coming out. Once again, everybody that listened to the podcast, thank you as well too. please look at the description block down below if you're listening at the podcast, and follow me that way. That way you can see me live on YouTube so you know that I'm real. Thank you, vice versa. I appreciate you, brother. Please share my channel. Also, too, if you are a person who is actually following me tonight, please go ahead on hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button as well. Please fill out everything that you like also in the comment section and everything else. Please be on the lookout next week. We got a strong five coming in. Myself, Jericho Green, Black Conservative Perspective, uh, Hood Conservative, the Hood Conservative, Hood Conservative, and don't forget the Chicano Bear. So all 6 of us will be on here. That's right, repping our conservative values, getting it in on this huge panel. I love you guys. Take care of yourself and each other. I'm out.